members' good fortune this morning seems to be and will eventually fall to ruin. Taking your own misfortunes as an example, Oedipus can pronounce anyone happy.
For he, with a keen shot in the dark, enjoyed great fortuitous wealth by Zeus. After slaying the prophetic Sphinx with her crooked talons, he rose as a champion of death in our land. Since then we've called you our King Oedipus. You've been greatly honored as ruler of glorious Thebes.
Now, is there anyone more wretched to hear of? Who dwells in such wild misery, such dreadful changes, such a dreadful change of fate, poor, illustrious Oedipus? Was the same home you grew up in, as child and father, good enough for you to later call your precious chamber? How could the soil your father was sowed have endured your wretched presence for so long?
All same time has unwillingly found you. It has put an end to this marriage that is no marriage at all, between a wife and her own child. Alas, son of Laius, if only I'd never known you. Now I mourn with unceasing lament. Truly, you raised us up once, only to bring darkness over our eyes.
O most honorable citizens, what deeds you will hear, what sights you will see, what grief you will bear for this royal house. I fear even the rivers Ister and Phasis could not wash this house clean. How full it is with evils, purposeful evils, evils which will now come to light. Crimes committed by choice hurt the most.
The crimes that have already been committed are bad enough already. What else do you have to report?
I will make it quick then. The queen, Jocasta, is dead.
Poor woman! What happened?
She died by her own hand. You will not suffer the worst of it, for you did not see for yourself. But I will tell you every detail, as I can remember it. She came in from the hall, angry, and rushed straight to the royal bed, tearing her hair out with both hands. Once inside, she slammed the doors behind her, and called out the name of Laius, who's been dead for years. She thought of the child she bore only to slaughter his own father, and with whom she bore wretched children. And she lamented her marriage, where she, poor woman, gave birth twice. Once to a husband born from a husband, then to children from her own child. I cannot say how she died, for then Oedipus, shouting, burst in. Our eyes were fixed upon him while she met her doom. He went back and forth and asked for his sword, and his wife, who was no wife at all, but the mother of himself and his children. A spirit possessed him as he raged with no one there to listen. Having unleashed a terrible cry, as if being attacked, he smashed through the doors and ripped them off their hinges. And then we saw her, hanging with a twisted noose around her neck. When he saw her, he cried out and loosened the ropes to release her. And when the wretched woman was placed upon the ground, what came next was terrible to see. He wrenched the golden brooches from her dress and tore out his own eyes, saying, "No longer will they witness the evils I have suffered and committed. Instead, live on in darkness. There is no need to see. I did not see the prophecy." He cried this over and over as he lifted his eyelids and tore out his eyes. Blood poured down his cheeks in a torrent. Together, their deeds united them in misery. Their ancestors enjoyed true happiness, but on this day, lament, ruin, blindness, death, and all the evils of the earth are theirs.
Is there any hope for Oedipus to escape misery now?
He cries for someone to open the gates and show all of Thebes his father and mother's murderer, and his... I cannot even bear to speak such profanity. So that he might banish himself from the land and rid the curse from his home. Yet he lacks a guide or the strength to do it himself, for the anguish is more than he can bear. You'll see for yourself, when he opens the gates, you'll see a sight that even his enemies will pity.